as if heeding to the wisdom of the sages, that if you don't know where you're heading to, go back to where you started. For not knowing where we're heading to was indeed the situation at the time. Your Excellency, it was and it is indeed my honor and privilege to have been chosen in 2021 by the Honorable Minister of Defense, Sheikh Omar Fai, and his ministry as chairman and local consultant to head its Defense Policy Drafting Committee for the development of the first Gambia National Defense Policy document. The committee was also fortunate to be endowed with and led by an international consultant in the persons of Professor Anne Fitzgerald, who is the director of Barcelona School of International Affairs and a professor in Wilfrid Laurier University's Political Science Department in Canada. Professor Anne also served as course director for the MSc Security Sector Management Program, both in the UK and in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The international consultant and the chairman were backed by a diversely composed committee membership of representatives from security stakeholders, institutions, and individual subject matter specialists.
Defense policy makers must make decisions on how best to deploy their military and civilian resources at their disposal to ensure the protection of their nations and their allies. And that's why I was so pleased to see this was such an inclusive process for that drafting this defence policy. Because a robust defence policy focused on the security of the people and adopted by a civilian government is the sign of a healthy democracy. And I think that is what we're seeing here today. A well-defined defence policy allows us to adapt and respond effectively to the emerging challenges in this rapidly changing world. But I've also been very pleased, and it was just mentioned just now, that the Gambia's defence policy takes into account the wider responsibility that we all share to help the maintenance of regional and global security. As international events constantly remind us, we can never take security and democratic freedoms for granted. And we all know only too well what can happen if we are complacent about such things. I know the Gambia is justly proud of their contribution to regional and UN and international peacekeeping.
The National Defence Policy clearly set out the Gambia's expectation and aspiration for defence. Our national defence requires every citizen to be aware of our national approach to provide effective defence of the country, to deter aggression, and to support the socio-economic programs of the government, as well as to promote regional and international peace and security. The policy reaffirms in a clear and concise manner the subordination of the armed forces to civil authority. The principle of civilian control of the armed forces is critical for defense of the Gambia's national sovereignty, territorial integrity, peace and security under a democratic dispensation. It also provides the Gambia Armed Forces a vital component of our national power with clear direction to carry out its duty to respond to threats to our nation as well as a dynamic and unpredictable security environment. Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, the National Defence Policy reiterates the commitment of the Gambian government to maintain a well-enhanced and effective defence force at all levels that is necessary to secure and guarantee our internal security and the integrity of our borders.
Today marks another milestone in the history of the security sector in the Gambia. It is a historic moment for us as we gather here to launch the country's first ever defense policy since the attainment of independence in 1965, which is worth celebrating. That means we were waiting for nearly 60 years to launch a document. I think this is a very clear manifestation of my government commitment to support the Gambia National Army. The defense policy is founded on sensitivity of the country's sovereignty, national interests, core values, and commitment to a favorable world order and regional security resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may recall, in 2017, when I took over as president of this country, I made a call for an assessment of the security sector. The purpose was to analyze the existing opportunities and challenges that have to be addressed in the country in respect of delivering accountable, transparent, professional, apolitical, and responsive security services for the people. Providing defense and security is a complex endeavor. Therefore, as a country, we cannot ignore, underestimate, or downplay our security risk. Thus, it is crucial to determine our national priorities and about implementable policies and consistent with them. Preserving the integrity and sovereignty of the Gambia requires the commitment of all citizens and not just the armed forces. I implore the Ministry of Defense to take full responsibility for the policy implementation process and ensure that the much anticipated outcomes of the reforms in the defense sector are achieved. The government will continue to work towards enhancing and developing the capacity of the armed forces and promoting security awareness and patriotism among citizens of the country.